to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for a motion to approve the board minutes from the February 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Ms. Major's report. Look for a motion for Ms. Major's report.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Budget transfers. Motion to approve budget transfers.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Look for a motion to approve the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Krupp,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunsinger,
Yes.
Mr. Lanning,
Yes.
Mrs. Moyer,
Yes.
Mr. Nestle,
Yes.
Ms. Phillip,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Yost,
Yes.
and Mr. Heck.
Yes. Okay, Superintendent's report.
So I mentioned this last week, after tonight's meeting, with the minutes being approved, tomorrow or Wednesday, I'll be submitting the facilities grant, and that will be a request for a matching grant for portions of this roof. Lowest quote that we got was $700,000. That is what we would be applying for. If approved, we would be getting 75% of that $700,000, which is put the district cost of I think $175,000. We have been in conversation with insurance. I believe insurance will be covering a portion of that as well. So, but that will be submitted unless there's an objection to that. That will be submitted this week. I'd like to invite Jim Marabelli to the table, and Jim is going to, Jim and I are going to talk through the budget presentation for you, which also gives you a 3-year look back. So I'll kind of turn it over to you. I know we're going to kind of feed off one another if there's things that I want to talk about.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you all for having me. I understand you had a pretty robust budget presentation at the last meeting. And we wanted to come here and just give you kind of an update. I'm calling this the draft budget, not quite the preliminary budget, but just wanted to give you an overview of where we're at this point and give you a tool to ask questions about the budget, right? So we've structured this in a way that kind of looks like your monthly board report, so that you can compare year over year versus what is currently in the draft budget for 26-27. And this should point out, variances and be a good tool for you to ask any questions of administration as to why a certain thing is the way it is. For those who don't know, I'm Jim Marabelli. I'm from School Business Consultants. We've been with Berwick for some time, helping out, in the business office, accounting, finance, consulting, and recently asked to help with the budget, right? So. Our involvement has been, we have helped get every single one of your salaries and benefits in this budget to actually be what they are going to be next year, right? Currently, there isn't a contract in place, so we have it budgeted in a contingency at the historical average. So we just took historical averages to put that in, just so you have provisions to, do what you will with the negotiation process and everything like that. We wanted to make sure it was covered for, even though it's not specifically spelled out, right? So wanted to walk through the process we've taken. So salary and benefits, we know that your health insurance is going to go up by about 7.9%, right? So we accounted for that, down to every single person's premium, whether it's single, family. So we have all that accounted for in your salary and benefits, right down to the person in this benefit. In this budget. We also, your department heads and principals also worked really hard at getting detailed line item budgets together. So athletics, information technology, high school maintenance, all of those budgets have been uploaded in detail into this.
I think that process, and we've gone through this with you guys already, through the department and principal budgets. I think it was very important for us to try to get those budgets to a real spend. I think there were some things that were lower than they should have been. Hopefully that has been adjusted so that those are real numbers that you can kind of trust as far as historically what the spend has been and moving forward.
Yeah, and I think just to clarify that, what that means is we didn't just do a same as last year budget. We looked at what do we think we need, and then also we did multiple layers of review, looking back to the current year, how are we trending, in the prior 2 years, what was the actual spend there, just to see if what was budgeted in those line item budgets actually was going to come to fruition, right? So you look at that trend, and I think that's important. And we did find a few spots that were we thought a little over budget. We did find probably more spots that we thought a little under budget. And that's not to inflate the spend, that's just to be realistic about what you're probably going to spend. And a lot of what you're spending is fixed, right? So you don't have a lot of discretionary room to move things around. And when I talk about here in a second, I'm going to talk about the expense side of the equation first. So actually, when you go into the second page of this handout, you're going to see that a lot of the drivers of this budget are, I don't want to say out of your hands, but fixed. Okay? So you don't have a lot of discretion, right? So now, looking through, this is set up very similar to your board report, right? So 1,000s are instruction, 2,000s are support services, 3,000s down the left-hand side is student activities, 4,000 would be property, and 5,000s would be debt service and what we're calling contingency, right? That's where we have place of reserves so that you could use for your salary benefits in the future. So that's how that works, and then you can see the 100, 200, 300, 400, those are called objects, right? So you can see the salaries, benefits, professional services, those are all kind of spelled out, and you can see the variances, budget versus budget, right? And you can kind of see how they're a little bit up and down. Now, the salaries probably stand out to you. That is probably because it looks like a decrease in some areas because we're using the same flat salary currently, but there's been some turnover where some of those salaries since the last budget got reset, right? So when you do finalize a contract, I don't think you would be seeing that decrease there in those line items. Talking about benefits, the main drivers in your benefits, the 200s, right? We talked about health insurance is up by $470,000. That's your 7.9% increase. Also, benefits to retirees, so HRA and 403B, up by $175,000. That's another driver of that increase that you're seeing in the 200s.
And I think it's important that $470,000 increase, that's based on 7.9 not to exceed. That's the number that we've got from CS Trust. 7.9 may sound like a lot, but many school districts, and Jim, I know you work with many of them, are seeing increases of 10%, some 12%, some are even seeing 20%. So 7.9 is not bad. Certainly throughout the budget season, if that number, if we get the second look and that number comes down from 7.9 to whatever, we'll adjust those numbers. So that's the information that we have at this point. It's not going to get worse, but it could get better.
Yeah, and I think that's the moral of the story here. This is a draft budget, and we will continue to refine this as new information comes in, right? So this is pretty early. It's good that you're starting early. It's good that you have a complete budget right now so that you can make informed decisions and kind of know where you're at. Now, it's not really realistic to say it's going to go from 7.9 down to 1%, right? So that's kind of a, I think, if you made it to 6.9, you'd probably be pretty thrilled by it. So I don't
expect it, but if it gets better, gets better, but currently are not to exceed 7.2.
Yeah, so we're gonna monitor all that. So when your insurance premiums come back, meaning commercial insurance, workers' comp, all of those, if we find that they come back better than market, we'll adjust it down. If we find that it comes back above market, above budget, we'll have to adjust that upward. But, you have a really good starting point here on many of those line items. So, couple other major expense drivers, special ed tuition and placements, $600,000 increase there. And so, not just talking about cyber charter, but also off-campus placements. And I was just talking to Pam about the price of some of those placements that you have at like Graham Academy and things like that. And the price per student is pretty staggering, so it could really sway the budget. And, what was the price tag on the Graham student?
Tuition was $140,000 for one student.
So that's one student. That is, so that's something that we're pretty sensitive on. But if Pam learns that 2 students are coming in or something like that in the next month or 2, we would have to account for that, or vice versa. But we tried to account for, I think it's fair to say, we tried to account for what we project the population to be at this point, right? So that is another place besides healthcare where we're seeing all school districts getting hit really hard in the special ed tuition space. So it is challenging to really hold those costs in line. We aren't really finding anybody that's able to drive costs down in that area. Let's see. Maintenance is up by about $150,000, not because there's more maintenance supplies, largely because of utility increases. I mean, I think we're all feeling the utility bill differences in natural gas.
And if you remember, when we went through the high school budget, I drew your attention to the utilities of the high school, and I think it was budgeted something like, don't quote me on this, but it was like $119,000. Well, the spend was more like 220 or whatever that was. So we were under budget there by $100,000.
So trying to true that up to the trend, and it's really important to be realistic on both the revenue and expense side, and perhaps even a little conservative. If you budget aggressively and then all of your assumptions don't come out, that's a quick way to run yourself out of fund balance. Other items that are up, debt service, that's the payment on the HVAC project in this building. And then PCER's retirement is up about $70,000. So debt service is up $140,000, PCER's up $70,000. So all of those costs are pretty much fixed, right? So those are not things that that you can just cut, right? So that I just wanted, the theme here is these are items that are challenging to reduce in terms of expenses. That, electricity, we must keep the lights on, right? So over on the revenue side, I want to be clear about what is in this revenue and what is not. And there are 2 potential revenue generators that are not in this revenue side. One, there's not a tax increase in this at this time. That will be up to you all as to what you would like to do there. I will say, and I think this was presented, the maximum tax increase of 4.8% will get you approximately $850,000. Okay. The other thing that is not in here is anything that the governor proposed over and above what we were getting this year. Right? So subsidies are flat budgeted at this point in time. Okay. We didn't find out what our subsidies were this year until almost Christmas time. So it's really hard to budget for this number ahead of time. We're hoping for a really good number. We hope to see that the governor's proposal comes through and you get the $848,000. But
what I would make sure the governor's proposal is a starting point. I've never seen the governor's proposal go up. So if we would get $850,000, great, but it could go down. So I just caution you on that. It's way too early to really have a good feel of where the state budget goes. I just hope that they do it quicker than this past year when there was an impasse and didn't have a state budget for months on it.
Yes, and that also hampers cash flow for us when the budget doesn't come in, so we don't get our substitutes until the budget is passed. And then all other revenues are really budgeted at the current year line item, except for the medical access line item. We had a couple salaries that we were covering in there, but there's just not sufficient funds in the balance to be able to cover all of them going forward. So we do see a reduction of about $350,000 in that medical access line item there. So pretty significant reduction in revenue available, but it was, you know, when that decision was made, we did alert administration that those funds would not be recurring in perpetuity. So.
And one thing on the revenue side that I just want to mention is last week I showed you historically real estate taxes and what you budgeted and versus what you collected. I think we're budgeting now very conservatively. I showed you last week where 2024 there was we collected $500,000 more than what we did in previous years. I think there was close to a 10-year period where you were over budgeting your real estate collection versus what you collected, so you would have a negative in that. That's $500,000, but I caution you thinking of that as $500,000 because remember we have the Berwick Hospital, so most of that will be wiped out from the Berwick Hospital reassessment.
So in the current year, we have a repayment of, is it 161?
Yeah, I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I was thinking of 177.
Okay, because I have for 26-27, there's $322,000 that will be paid back just for that fiscal year. So
Correct.
whatever we come up with the real estate tax number, just know that $322,000 is going to come off the top for that reimbursement there.
Now that will be a one-time payback, although your Berwick Hospital reassessment you'll have less. So we will have to watch that number over the next year or so to make adjustments if needed.
I think those are all the notes I had on the revenue side. So in summary, when you look at the revenues of 56.68 million versus expenses of 59.59 million, we currently have a deficit in this draft budget of $2.9 million. Okay. I think a little higher number might have been presented last time. We have been going through layer after layer after layer of review and trying to find any discrepancies, anything that we can move to trend. We did find a revenue item dealing with the state gaming tax that we moved up. That was a big reason why this deficit closed from what was last reported. But I will tell you, we will continue to monitor this for you, and we will continue to make adjustments at administration's direction, and board direction as well, obviously. And you know, so happy to take any questions and be a part of the process as we go.
Any dialogue, any questions that you have, we're happy to answer or give you information.
I think one important thing to note here is the current real estate taxes do not include anything for any of these data centers. It's my understanding that the first one has just been issued an occupancy permit. We have no deal in place to grant a tax abatement for any. So at some point, they're going to be assessed. They're going to be assessed at full value, just like any other mom and pop business in this district will be. But until that happens, we're got some belt tightening to do, unfortunately.
So regarding belt tightening, I'm assuming that you want me to come back to you with some options as far as bringing that $2.9 million deficit down. Certainly, I don't think we want to go into next year with the thought that we're going to take that out of fund balance. So what I'll to, which I've already begun, is put together some options for you over the next weeks and months ahead, and share that with you.
Because if we spend our fund balance now, we'll still be in serious trouble if we don't.
Yeah, I think that the important thing is 2.9 million is a really big number. It's probably a hard number to digest. Do not let 2.9 turn into do nothing, and then next year that number is 4 million, because you will burn through fund balance in a matter of 2 to 3 years. So I will come back to you with options, and we can go from there. Thanks.
We have a bad success report.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, moving on to public comment. On agenda items only, maximum 3 comments. Please state your name and where you live.
Johnny Finnis. Oh, you want me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Who wants to go first?
I just shortened my presentation by 3 paragraphs, so I see what's going on here. I want to thank you for having me and your time, and thank you for being on the board. I'm very familiar with your role. My wife was on 8 years, and my father was on 18 years with Mark's grandfather. But the Votech School was built in 1969, and my father was the first representative from the board on that board. He fought hard for them to have sports, and he saw a lot of value in the school, and it certainly has proven itself that way. My name is Johnny Finnis, for those of you who may not know. I'm a sort of semi-retired dentist from Berwick, and with me is Jim Huntley, who was a retired administrator from Votech. Jim is on the BIDA board. I'm not, I'm just a member, and I attend the meetings. So at the last meeting, I opened my big mouth and said, we should be proactive with the Votech School. So I got the job of coming here. I'm here. I personally had great experience with a lot of their graduates. In the dental office, we must have hired over 40 students over the years. Some went on to hygiene. Most of them jumped ship to go to Geisinger because they paid a lot more. But we were happy with all of them. Certainly in 3 minutes, I can't discuss the pros and cons of the Votech School, but I would like to inform you that BIDA would like to support you and help you with your feedback from employers. It's our role, you know, is to support the employers in the community with their workforce, and we get a lot of those questions that way. So we'd like to help out in any way. I told the board that we should probably put our money where our mouth is, and it would positively accept it, and surely we can help out in some way in some area. Our CEO of the IDA is Kelly O'Brien. She has a friend in Virginia who works in the school system, and they've had a data center for some 10 years, over 10 years, and they were extremely happy. They felt their school was upgraded to state-of-the-art, and they had nothing but praise for that situation. I'll hand out these, we did a little study. It's very informal. Did I do that? It's very informal. You can read it as you leisure. Yeah, you want to add up. I think I have enough. And it compares their school with ours, and we're pretty much exactly the same. Their superintendent, Dr. Beno, has said he would gladly talk with you and the whole board for a Zoom meeting or whatever. But that's what I basically would like to say this evening. See if I missed anything. Well, thank you for your time, and we look forward to supporting you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get that.
I'm sure I did. Did I go 3 minutes or not? I'm good.
Crystal Mikulowski, Nescapeck. G2, Policy 903. The board shall require that all public comments be made at the appropriate time as outlined in Policy 006. Based on what is detailed in 006, there will only be one public comment period, which will limit public comment to agenda items only. Is that correct? And if so, for the knowledge of everyone here, how does the public bring other matters to the board's attention, like he just did? It is understood that the public
You want me
comment
to answer
period...
that for you?
Sure.
So, that's not correct. It's actually so people don't have to wait, and you will be able to talk about any agenda item, or agenda items and non-agenda items at the start of the meeting.
Oh.
Yeah. This is the last time this is gonna be agenda items only. Once the policy passes tonight, this is gonna be public comment.
Oh, okay, because, yeah, that wasn't clear, because my main focus was eliminating the key step of public participation, so
No,
thank you
we're
for the
just making it
clarification.
easier.
All right, great, thank you.
But there will only be one comment section.
Correct, yes. Anybody else?
Right now, it's agenda.
Right now, the items
Move on. Okay, we'll look for a motion to approve agenda items G1 and G2, one motion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign.
I have a question, sorry. 006 is the one comment, 903 is the entire board. I think I misread which one was which.
Oh,
06 was,
is for the meetings, that puts it at the one comment.
okay, so
Policy 903 governs.
the whole meeting.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm,
That just covers the public comment.
okay, so I'm yes for both except no to 006.
Moving on, for a motion to approve AA1. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll look for a motion to approve EC1.
So moved.
Questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Okay, motion to approve budget finance items 1 and 2. One motion.
So moved.
Questions, concerns, comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Transportation, look for a motion to approve E1.
So moved. Sorry.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries. Personnel, the motion to approve items P1 through P14.
So moved.
Questions, comments?
P5, I would like to thank them for their years of service here.
Yes,
And went through P what?
14. All personnel items. In favor, say aye.
I am a no to P10.
Second that.
Motion carries. Any old business in this crowd? Any new business? regular public comments for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and your location.
Hi, my name is Ivy Mears, and this is Danielle Lopez. We're here for an MDS, ES, and AS student, which is Danielle's son. I take care of him. I am the nurse that takes care of him. It all started with a lockdown and a fire drill at the same time. He has epilepsy, and which almost caused a seizure at that moment. So if somebody could please revamp that lockdown with flashing lights at the same time, it's, I mean, really, okay? And number two, on that note, what really bothers me is I'm a mandatory reporter, number one. Number two, I'm taking care of a behavioral child. So when somebody calls a child line on me because I'm trying to calm my student down, and they're a normal, takes care of a normal student, and I'm trying to calm him down the way that I was taught to calm him down, and he now is out of school for 3 weeks, and he has regressed. He is now back to square one. That is a problem.
And
So-
that's a false report.
Instead of going to the teacher, they just called the hotline. Instead of going to the teacher asking why I put my hand down on his laps and why I turned his head towards me because he is visually impaired, they just called the children hotline and made a report that I abused him. So can something be done about that too? They need to, teachers who have normal children, does not have MDS, ES, and AS students, need to ask the teacher why a nurse who takes care of a student of that nature has to put hands on a child to calm that child down. That child went into a seizure that day because he was overstimulated. So instead of me being able to do my job, and now I can't do my job at all. I cannot calm him down, I cannot put hands on him, I cannot ask him to please calm down. I can't do anything. This is a problem. I can't do my job in your school. I know they don't, but you can see my face. I'm very upset about this whole situation. This child has regressed. This child now is back to square one on his behaviors. This is not fair to this child. He should not have been out of school for 3 weeks.
I think someone had it in there.
Stop. Just stop it.
Did you say this started with a fire drill? I'm sorry, repeat that. first
Yes,
part for me.
this started all with me voicing my opinion and trying to safeguard my child that I was taking care of. I was put in East Berwick. We are now in West Berwick because of this. We were put in East Berwick. I was trying to stop him from having a seizure, from the lockdown and the flashing lights at the same time. That causes seizures. Now, Mr. Michaels, I give him all the praises in the world. I went right to him after being scorned, yelled at, and degraded in the classroom by a paraprofessional from East Berwick, being told that I was unprofessional and I made her look bad in front of the superintendent. But I was trying to make sure my child did not have a seizure. That's my job.
Yeah, this is personnel stuff that we should be talking about.
No, I'm telling you, my job is to make sure he does not have a seizure. And
Your 3 minutes are up, ma'am. I'm done. Sorry, we gotta move on.
Sit down. Sit down. Just sit down. Stop.
Anyone else? We had an executive session before this meeting to discuss personnel matters. Next meeting is April 13th for a work session, and April 20th is the next board meeting. And we're gonna have an executive session after to discuss personnel matters. Motion to adjourn. Say aye. Same sign. There. Meeting's adjourned. Take her out.